As our viewers know, or social media followers know, I've been banging on this electricity story in New England and other parts of the world for months. And there were literally parts of the year where New England was burning wood and dung, that's not a joke, to make power. How bad would it have been if LNG and you guys were not there?
Brian, first, thanks for having me on. Really appreciate it. It's an exciting day for Excelerate Energy. It's critical to get energy security into all of these markets. And as you say, we are a global company. We have operations in floating terminals from Bangladesh to Brazil. We were delivering gas into Boston and New England in Jan-Feb, and we were glad to be part of the solution.
Yeah, and tell us in sort of layman's terms, Stephen, what you do. I understand it's ships and LNG, but I don't want to say floating regasification unit, although I just did. So explain to our viewers exactly how your ships operate. What do they do?
Yeah, these floating storage regasification units, FSRUs, they're just, think of them as floating import terminals, Brian, and they receive transfers of LNG from delivering conventional vessels, and you simply warm up something that's very cold and send it ashore as to high-pressure gas. And what we've been doing for nearly 20 years is connecting LNG supply to folks who don't have it or need it.
And these ships can be moved around the world. You've got some in Latin America. You've got some in Israel, obviously off the coast of Boston. Do they just sit there? How long are the contracts, Stephen? If somebody says, we want you to come in, we can't build an onshore terminal, or yours is more cost effective, how long are your contracts? How long do the ships last?
Useful life of those vessels is about 40 years. We're really proud of that fleet. And it's just a great alternative for getting energy security into a country. It's better speed of execution than land-based terminals. They're more affordable than land-based terminals. And so you can really quickly get LNG to a market who doesn't have LNG or who needs more LNG. And all that does for energy security and power, as you mentioned.
Yeah, and I'm thinking about Germany. Germany obviously is coming to grips with maybe some of the policy mistakes that they have made over the last 20 years. Obviously, the war, Putin's war in Ukraine has caused them to rethink some things. And they've talked about bringing in things like ships like that, these regasification ships, as a nearer term solution. Maybe you can't tell us, but I'm going to ask anyway, Stephen. Have you been called by the government of Germany?
We can't speak to specifics, Brian, but I can tell you Europe and the EU in general can certainly use a number of FSRU import terminals. They need a quick solution. They need a quick alternative. And these vessels can deliver a lot of gas. I mean, we have one vessel that's delivering 4.5 million tons each year. That's more than 1% of global LNG production. So they're fast. They can deliver a lot of energy quickly. And those are great combinations.
I'm going to make a wild stab, though, Stephen, on a couple of points here. Just freelancing here as a morning news anchor. Your ships are expensive to build, is my guess. You probably don't have a number of them just sitting around waiting to go to business. So if a company or a country were to call you, how quickly could you get a ship? Let's imagine a company, Germany. Let's imagine Germany called you. You don't have to confirm that. How quickly could you get a ship to Germany? Do you have a ship to go to Germany or some other nation who may want it?
In general, we try to maintain some flexible tonnage. The great thing about FSRU import projects is speed of execution. I think the phenomenon in Europe, Brian, is going to be a fairly intermediate term solution. You'll probably see a couple of FSRU terminals up and running this year, this winter, but it's going to be a longer term phenomenon as they seek to wean themselves from dependence on Russian gas, for sure.
Well, it's fascinating. I think the engineering is just a marvel. And at some point, Stephen, maybe we can get on one of these ships and show our viewers how they operate, because I think the technology is just, the engineering skill is just tremendous. Stephen Kobos, going public today, EE the ticker.